Hello everyone, welcome back to the Geek Speak Geek podcast. We are your hosts, Movie Master Mike.
And Tabletop Tim.
We are back and better than ever. And we didn't get around last week to doing this because you got sick, but...
I had the plague.
Yes, but we saw Batman v Superman, so this is going to be our chance to talk about it. I thought long and hard on my thoughts about this movie, so it would be great to actually get those out.
Yeah, I didn't think that hard about it.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have, but I did. And we got a little bit of movie news, some board game news.
Yep.
And we both actually played a board game together this week, so...
We did!
Yeah, we'll actually get to talk about that
Finally got together and played a game.
Yes, so we'll be doing that together this week. But let's get into the movie news. Just a few things that I actually wanted to talk about. There's a... DC secured 2 release dates in 2017 and 18. Or 18 and 19, sorry. And those dates are October 6th, 2017 and November 1st, 2019. So maybe 17 and 19. And we don't know what they are. They're just untitled movies.
So they just secured
dates.
Release dates, huh?
Yeah. Marvel did that a few times. They just these are dates that we want, and we'll put
Mine.
whatever. Yeah, we'll put whatever.
Yeah, we'll throw whatever movies we want.
Yeah, and so a lot of people are thinking because they already have The Flash, Aquaman, Justice League Part 1 and 2, Cyborg and Green Lantern Corps kind of planned. So they're thinking, well, at least one of these is probably going to be the Batman solo movie. You know, with Ben Affleck and probably Ben Affleck directing, but it's still unconfirmed. But along with that news, it looks like Warner Brothers, they say they wanted to make less movies because Batman v Superman got such negative feedback.
Right.
But, I mean, they're making 8 movies right now between now and 2020, so...
Well, they should probably throttle back.
Yeah. Another thing is, they changed the release date to Wonder Woman. It was supposed to be June 23rd, 2017. Now it's June 2nd, because on June 23rd, Transformers 5 comes out.
Oh.
So they don't want to compete against Transformers 5, so they went early a little bit. So the only thing they're going to compete against is Bad Boys 3, which apparently hasn't even started shooting, so it might not even be released then. And it's not directed by Michael Bay, who did the first one, so people might just not even care.
So what are the DC movies they have scheduled?
So far, the summer schedule, we already got Batman v Superman early in the summer of this year. Then on August 5th, we have The Suicide Squad. And then now June 2nd, 2017 is Wonder Woman. November 17th, 2017 is Justice League Part 1. March 23rd, 2018 is The Flash. July 27th, 2018 is Aquaman. October 5th, 2018 is one of the untitled DC films. June 14th, 2019 is Justice League Part 2. November 1st, 2019 is another untitled DC film. And then April 3rd, 2020 is Cyborg. And June 19th, 2020 is Green Lantern Corps.
The only one I don't really care about is Cyborg. Do you care about Cyborg at all?
I don't give a crap about Cyborg.
Yeah, I don't get... I guess they probably need a black character.
Yeah.
That's probably something they're trying to tap into.
Well, I mean, they could always just make Green Lantern Jon Stewart. He was the black.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they can do that. I mean, they cast Gal Gadot, or I'm hearing it's Gal Gadot. That's what I'm hearing now.
I haven't a clue.
Gal Gadot. But,
okay.
You know, she's like Iranian or somewhere like that. So it's like you have some
racial diversity.
Yeah, and and they proved in Batman v Superman and Man of Steel before it, Perry White was cast as Lawrence Fishburne. So you can change castings, things. I mean, I think we've talked about this maybe it was offline, but you can change your casting to whatever color, race, or sex really you want, as long as it fits what you're trying to do.
Right.
As long as you're not doing it just for, oh, we need a woman, so let's change the character to a woman. Oh, we need a black guy, let's change the character to a black guy. That's when it's no, don't do it just to fill a quota. Because the Spawn movie, back in 98, I think, most of the characters in the comic books were black characters. So the studios were well, white people aren't going to want to watch this movie. Let's cast a few of the characters white. It's that's the wrong reason to change the characters. Perry White, Lawrence Fishburne, and that's the right reason, because it's Larry Fishburne's a good actor.
Wow, I thought he was great in it.
Yeah, and he's the choice that we want. Let's change the character. That's perfect.
I'm just wondering about Cyborg, though. I don't know. He's just never really been on my radar.
No, it's because he was a Teen Titan for so long.
Right, but
and then they replaced Martian Manhunter with Cyborg in the Justice League. So they were get out of the Teen Titans and join the big leagues, and it's like, but just who cares? He's a Teen Titan, and I'm not saying that the Teen Titans are all bad. I love Robin; he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah,
but Cyborg just who cares? He's a cyborg.
Yeah, I've never been big on the cyborg type characters like Deathlock and Cyborg.
Yep.
Everything else sounds cool though. Maybe not Aquaman. I'm not too big on Aquaman, but I would really like to see a Justice League movie.
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about.
It's crazy to me that they went Man of Steel, which was kind of this is what we want to start with, and it made enough money to be like, all right, that is what we're starting with.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't get as much backlash as like Green Lantern did back in 2011, which is what they wanted to start with. But
or Superman Returns.
Well, yeah, no, that was
Jesus.
It had such potential too, and it's just sucked so bad.
The second I heard it was a sequel, I was like, nope, done. Yeah. I don't need to see this movie at all.
Yeah, and it wasn't even a sequel; it was like a remake.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, it's just crazy to me that like right after Batman v Superman, they're already doing Wonder Woman, but next in line is Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could almost skip Wonder Woman really and just go straight to Justice League if they wanted. Because we saw her probably enough to know that like, oh, she's part of it.
I agree.
So it's just crazy that like Marvel did 5 movies, set up 4 characters, plus Black Widow, I guess, like 5-6 characters, setting them up in these movies, and then brought them together. And DC is just playing catch up. They're like, Justice League right now.
Yeah, slam them
next
out.
in line, yeah. But yeah, Aquaman, I've never liked the character. I've always thought he was, kind of dumb. But I do like Jason Momoa.
Uh-huh.
I've met him at the Phoenix Comic-Con last year. He's a real cool guy. He was just kicking back, drinking beer, talking to people, He was,
nice.
Yeah, real nice guy. He looks cool as Aquaman,
Mm-hmm.
I think, but that scene in the movie, which we'll get to when we talk about the movie, was just really bad. And Green Lantern, I've never really liked Green Lantern either, but I can see the potential for it because the 2 minutes we spent on Oa in the Ryan Reynolds one was like, oh, cool, like, the intergalactic police and the training montage and stuff, like, this could be a really cool movie, and then it wasn't.
Oh, man. There's so much I've forgotten about Green Lantern, it's not even funny, like...
Yeah, so,
I actually saw that movie, but it was like my mind just couldn't keep all the garbage in it. It's just
it was just a poorly made movie.
Yeah, I remember. If you go back to the early days, I know they did a lot of the race car stuff and the giant boxing gloves and all that shit, but it just did not translate to film whatsoever. It was fucking bad.
Yeah,
and the CGI mask was...
Oh, there's the CGI suit. It's like, just put him in a suit.
Just put him in a suit.
It's like, I understand, like, the ring is generating the suit over your clothes, so you don't actually have to put the suit on, You can just be walking around and be like, oh, I need to save the day, and, whoop, your energy, puts the suit on for you. Like, it's like, okay, I get the idea that it's an energy suit made from the ring, but it doesn't have to look that stupid with, like, the energy going through, like... what would be like the muscle lines of his chest and stuff. It just looked really bad.
Yeah, it did look bad.
Really bad. And I remember I watched like the special features of that movie, and it said like Ryan Reynolds was born to play this role. Like, no, he wasn't. He was born to play Deadpool.
Oh yeah, I think he proved that last year. So
or
this year.
Yeah. But yeah, Green Lantern. So I'm not really looking forward to Green Lantern Corps, but I don't know. I mean, just all these movies. Like Wonder Woman, I really want to see because she was. A bright light in the Batman v Superman movie, so
definitely
I'm interested in that. The Flash, again, we'll talk about this more when we talk about the movie, but he was kind of another bright light in the movie, I thought. But yeah, I thought it was interesting news that they pushed forward the Wonder Woman movie to not compete with Transformers, and they secured 2 more slots for untitled projects. So moving along in the news, we got our first look at Star Wars Rogue One. And I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, I was a little cold on the idea of some prequels, but this actually looks like it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah, it looks like a really cool movie from this preview.
Right.
Like the effects look good. The tone looks pretty good. It doesn't look like fun and silly or stupid. It doesn't look like too dark and gritty like Batman v Superman. Like it has like the right kind of tone for like this type of movie, like this rebel movie, really.
Yeah, I think they really... they hit their tone just right with Force Awakens, and I think everything's going to kind of resonate off that tone, and I think it's a good way to go. I think it'll be a good adventure movie, good action movie.
Yeah, it looks like a cool action movie.
And then maybe a little more adult theme than what we've been accustomed to, and I'm glad about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the cast looks pretty good. We have Felicity Jones playing the main character, who's the only one on IMDb that has a character name,
right?
Which is Jin Erso. Then we have Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen.
He's awesome. He was, for some reason, I keep bringing this movie up. The Three Musketeers movie with Orlando Bloom.
Right.
He was in that, but we don't know who his character is. Alan Tudyk is in it, and we're a big fan of Alan Tudyk.
Absolutely.
Love Alan Tudyk. Donnie Yen is in it. Ben Mendelsohn is in it. Forrest Whitaker is in it.
I love Ben Mendelsohn.
I love Forrest Whitaker. I think he's a phenomenal actor.
Forrest Whitaker's alright, but...
we have Diego Luna, who I think he's going to be like the other main character. He's like 7th build here, but...
Yeah, it looks like we've already seen him a couple times in the preview.
Yeah.
Wearing his...
He looks... Because there was rumors that he was going to be playing Biggs, who was Luke's friend on Tatooine, who... he did join the Empire's academy, and then he quit the academy to join the rebellion. And he looks kind of like the actor who played Biggs back in 1977, but we're not sure if he's going to actually be playing Biggs, because in this, like, he seems like more of like I'm an established badass, you know, and Biggs didn't really seem like that in A New Hope, so I don't know, but he seems to be like he's going to be the other main character and not Mads Mikkelsen and Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, I hope Mads Mikkelsen is maybe
a bad guy.
A bad guy.
Yeah, he's an awesome bad guy. He's so good at a bad guy.
He was great, Casino Royale.
Yeah, everything I've seen him in, he's awesome in.
Did you see Valhalla Rising?
I have not.
If you want to see him be like an ultimate badass, check him out on that.
Okay.
He's this like Norwegian pit fighter.
Oh, nice.
Slave, and he just kills people with his bare hands. Pretty great. Oh yeah, and he's played Hannibal in the
yeah.
the Hannibal TV show.
Yeah, it's weird because the woman playing Mon Mothma isn't.
Yeah, she's not posted on IMDb.
Yeah, it was weird because she was obviously in the preview, and we obviously know that's Mon Mothma.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean the cast seems very diverse, which we were just talking about, which is good, and just. The whole preview just looked amazing. The way they altered like the themes that we know and love to fit what they were looking for in this was awesome. Probably my favorite part was you see a bunch of AT-ATs on like a tropical beach. Yeah, which was awesome.
I was very excited about that also.
Yeah, because everybody loves AT-ATs.
The fucking AT-ATs, and they shoot right at us.
Yeah, and AT-ATs are so cool just on their own.
Oh yeah,
and just the fact that they were on like a tropical beach, like you know. We've seen so many different types of landscapes in Star Wars, and in the prequels we did see a few like really alien things, mostly in the Jedi Purge, the montage. One of them, I forget the Jedi's name, but she was on like some weird alien planet where like everything was like colorful mushrooms and trees and stuff, and she was gunned down. But that was like really the only like alien world. You know, everything else was kind of like a desert planet, a forest, this
stuff we've seen.
Yeah, but we've never seen
an AT-AT walking through like a Costco.
Yeah, have you seen those pictures? Like people like edit AT-ATs into like real life pictures.
No,
there's
but
one, like there's like an accident. There's like a bunch of snow on like a highway, like in like North Carolina or something like that. There's like like a car is like on fire, and so then people post like AT-ATs in there.
And there's an AT-AT in the background.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Hell yeah!
But we've never seen like a tropical. Like
environment.
So it was cool to see. Yeah, not even just see that type of environment in Star Wars, but put the AT-ATs in there, and it just makes it that much cooler.
Hey, the Empire takes vacations too. They need some sun and some Mai Tais and kill a couple rebels.
Oh yeah, gotta kill the rebels. But just overall, this movie just looked really cool. It looks like this is going to be like an awesome. This gives me lots and lots of hope for Star Wars stories.
A New Hope.
A New Hope.
Excellent.
Yeah, it gives me a new hope for the Star Wars story movies, because I was thinking like, oh well, like we've talked about this, like should they do Star Wars stories all as prequels? Because if you do it that way, then you're not having any bearing on episode 7, 8, and 9. You can do whatever you want in 7, 8, 9, and not worry about what the side projects are. Because anything you do in prequel, you know how it's going to end. We know how this movie is going to end. They're going to get the Death Star plans to Princess Leia, and then she will be on the run from Darth Vader and the Star Destroyer. And A New Hope will start. That's how this movie will end. We know that. That doesn't change Episode 7 or what they're going to do with Episode 8. So it's kind of safe to do prequels because you know where it's going to end
Yeah.
and stuff. But we were thinking like, well, prequels suck because we know how they're going to end. Like there's no mystery. These characters that we have never met might die, except Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
But so like there's no real like threat or danger because we know how it's going to end, and the characters that we don't know might die. But it's like, who cares? Because we don't know them.
Right. Well, I'm sure they'll get us invested in certain characters.
Yeah.
And
but this movie gives me hope. Like they can do prequels and do them well. Because this movie looks awesome. So now that gives me the new hope that they can do whatever they want. They can set these Star Wars stories whenever, wherever, with whoever. And I have full faith in them because this looks awesome.
And it says it's coming out December, right?
Yes,
this year?
Out this December.
At least we don't have to wait 5 years to see another fucking Star Wars movie.
Oh, no. There's going to be a Star Wars movie every single year.
Excellent.
So there was one in December 2015.
December of 2015.
December 2016, and then Episode 8 will be summer of 2017. And then another Star Wars story in 2018, and then Episode 9 in 2019.
Excellent.
Yep. So every year we're getting a Star Wars movie. Every other year is an episode.
And it seems like there's another one. It looks like we have another female lead for this story, which is pretty exciting. I'm glad they're going that way. Always been kind of stigmatized as a boy thing, a boy nerd thing, and it's good to mix it up. Everyone should be involved in this. There's such great stories, and
absolutely.
It's about time. It's about time. Any property, I forget the word I'm trying to. It just property. Started integrating some female characters, some black characters, some. Yeah.
That was one positive thing I can say about The Last Airbender. It was pretty diverse.
That's the one thing.
The one
positive
thing, because everything else was garbage.
Never saw it.
No, it's garbage. Don't watch it. It's absolute garbage.
I'll take your word for it, sir.
All right, well, that was really all the news that I really wanted to discuss movie-wise. I want to get into the bulk of our thing, which is the discussion of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Batman v Superman.
Yeah, and by the time this podcast is edited and posted, it will be like 3 weeks out from.
Yeah.
But we did see it the Monday after it opened. So technically it opened on Thursday, and so we saw it the following Monday.
Yeah, we were going to talk about it that week.
Yeah.
And I actually started feeling sick at the movies.
Yeah, I remember you said, I'm starting to get a cold. And I was like, well, as long as you're not super sick on Thursday, which is when we record on Thursdays, then you can come over. But if you're super sick, just stay home.
And then I was super fucking sick. I caught the Kryptonian crud.
Oh.
Man. It knocked me down.
Yeah. I hate getting sick. But so we did see this within the week of it coming out. So watching it and just feeling like this is what they did.
Yeah.
It was so disappointing. It wasn't. I literally had zero expectations. I thought this movie was going to be The Last Airbender status, just
really?
absolute garbage.
You thought it was going to be that bad?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so coming out of it, I posted on the Geek Equilibrium 1 page, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. ... It was okay.
Yeah.
Because that's as good as it is going to get for me. It was okay.
It was okay
because there was so many problems, but there was also some really cool things.
Right.
But starting out, how did you feel about it?
It was just okay. It was an okay movie. It was way too fucking long. I think, I don't know, I'm getting old. But here's the thing. Zack Snyder can do an excellent long-form film. The uncut version of Watchmen is one of my favorite movies. It's almost 4 hours, and I can sit down and watch that entire thing. Mm-hmm. No problem. Because everything has a purpose. Everything moves. Everything's feeding the story. In this, there's so much downtime. So much feeding a story that we don't want or need to hear.
Yep.
And it just drags and drags and drags. And we don't get to the action till the last third to a quarter of the movie.
Yeah.
Most of it is just exposition and so much talking.
Yeah. All right. The first half almost. The first part of the movie was just scene after scene after scene after scene after scene after scene after scene. No establishing shots. No, nothing. It was just here's a scene, here's a scene, here's a scene. It almost seemed like it's what's happening? Why are all these scenes happening? There's almost no
through line.
Yeah, through line. Like,
no connective tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just a bunch of scenes.
Yeah.
Here's a scene.
Yeah, they could have cut like that whole like senator. What's her name? The senator that was kind of against Lex Luthor and wanted Superman to kind of take responsibility for what he did in Man of Steel. Like, you could have cut all that crap out. It would have made no difference.
Oh, that's true.
Holly Hunter, the actress.
Holly Hunter, that's the name I was trying to think of. And I love Holly Hunter. I loved seeing her in something modern, but like you said, it was very superfluous. It was completely unnecessary.
I understand like, what they wanted to do, like, because there was a lot of backlash about Superman in Man of Steel with the destruction, not saving anybody, and stuff, so they kind of wanted to bring that up, and like they did that with Batman. Like, he was there during Man of Steel, and that's why he hates Superman, because it's like I've seen the destruction this guy can cause, and he destroyed one of my buildings and killed a bunch of people. Like, I was in the rubble saving people, and he wasn't.
Yeah,
and he could have. That
was a pretty good intro.
Yeah, I like that intro.
Bruce Wayne racing through the city while the Superman Kryptonian invasion thing's happening while they're doing the terraforming.
Yep.
And the fight with Zod, and where they had their eye lasers shoot through the buildings.
Yeah.
From the outside perspective.
Yep.
That was very cool.
Yeah, seeing it all from like Bruce's perspective, like up at these Supermen, that was really cool. That opening scene was awesome. And well, even before that, we got the abridged version of the Wayne's death,
right?
Which was really well done. I love the shot of the gun around the pearl necklace, and when he fires it, it snaps the necklace.
Yeah, the slide pulling back and then...
Yeah, like, that was really cool looking. That was a cool way to break the necklace, not have him like rip it off. You know, it was a cool way to do it.
And that was actually taken, it seemed shot for shot from the Dark Knight Returns comic book.
Yeah.
That got me very excited. You know, I don't think we ever need to see the Bruce Wayne origin ever again, but that was a good telling of it, I thought.
Yeah, and I forget the actor's name, but he played the comedian in The Watchmen. He played Thomas Wayne, which I thought was good. And
he was in the last episode of Walking Dead.
Yes, yeah, I don't watch the show, but I did.
I know you don't.
I do know about. He plays Negan, the new baddie of the show. Right? Yeah.
Boy, too bad we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about long-winded. Holy shit. That episode was so much talking. Anyway, Batman versus Superman.
But then, like, after the invasion scene, it was just pointless scene after pointless scene after pointless scene. Like, Superman, like, kills a dude who's trying to kill Lois Lane. A bunch of people die in that scene, and it's kind of framing Superman.
Oh, in the, like, Middle East?
Lois Lane is there to interview this pretty much known terrorist, you know, and ask him, like, are you a terrorist, basically, and, like, are you responsible for these terrorist acts?
Right.
And Jimmy Olsen was there. That was actually Jimmy Olsen. He's credited as Jimmy Olsen. And he immediately gets shot in the face because, you know, they open up his camera and there's, like, CIA.
There's, like, a tracker
in there.
Uh-huh.
So he's, like, working for the CIA. So they shoot him in the face. They take Lois Lane inside. And then all these other dudes just start shooting all the other terrorists because they're actually working for Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Uh-huh.
And then they, like, as they're leaving, Superman comes in to save Lois Lane, and all those deaths are blamed on Superman. But Superman smiles and then kills the terrorist dude who has a gun up to Lois Lane's neck. With his super speed and strength, shoves him through a brick wall. I was like, that dude is dead. You know,
He's dead as
and then
fuck.
in the next scene, they're talking about, like, Superman killed those people in the Middle East, and he comes home, he's living with Lois Lane now, and he's like, I didn't kill those people, and it's like, well, you killed at least one.
Right.
You know, but this whole half of the movie is just them trying to make Superman do stuff, but he doesn't do anything.
Right.
There's that one montage of him saving people, but he does it with, like, a frown on his face, and he's doing it real slowly, like, he's hovering over the people in the flood, and he almost doesn't want to save them.
Uh-huh.
You know, it seems like he's like, oh, I have to go out and save people now.
Yeah, and that was never Superman.
No.
That shouldn't be that character.
No,
that should not be how they're playing that
out.
out.
Like, Superman was the worst part of this movie. Because he wasn't Superman.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything Superman. Even when he did save those people in that montage, it didn't seem like he wanted to. He had to go to his mom and be like, what should I do, Mom? And she says, well, you don't have to save anybody. Or you could save everybody.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, okay, I guess I'll go to that court meeting.
I guess I'll save everybody.
Yeah, so it's like he wasn't Superman. And it disappointed me so much because I love Superman. But Batman was super cool.
Yeah, I thought Ben Affleck did a really good job.
He did a great job.
Yeah, you know, there was a lot of backlash, I felt like, when they announced that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman.
Yeah.
I was not ambivalent, but I was just... I took a wait-and-see attitude.
Yeah.
Because I like Ben Affleck. I love what he did with The Town. I loved Argo. Argo was great. And I already know he's a good actor. I've seen him act well. So I took a wait-and-see attitude, and then I was not disappointed. I thought he did really well as Batman.
Yeah, he was awesome.
I thought it was cool that he didn't have to put on a fake voice, that they just kind of augmented it with voice modulation with speakers and microphones.
Yeah, yep.
So we don't have to worry about the Batman voice. Yeah.
Yeah. His suit was cool, very Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah. There was a lot of Dark Knight Returns homage in this film.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of things in this movie that they kind of ruined because like they didn't have to do Dark Knight Returns because they didn't really do it. You know, they kind of threw in the death of Superman, but they did it absolutely terribly. Yeah. And they didn't have to, and they didn't even follow through really. But like, Batman was cool. I liked how he was branding people. That was awesome. You know, it was kind of a death mark because they were saying on the news like Batman branded this criminal and then he died in prison. Uh-huh. And but I thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah, but the connection was so flimsy because the guy he branded was like a child molester and human trafficker.
Yep.
That's the reason they killed him.
Well, yeah.
And it just feels like they're making a leap. Like, generally speaking, those people get killed anyway. Mm-hmm. It's not because they get branded by the Batman.
Yeah, that's true. Ben Affleck was awesome. There was probably my favorite scene in the movie, which didn't really have anything to do with anything. Like, okay, so the whole time Batman, he doesn't like Superman because he has absolute power, and with absolute power comes absolute
frowns.
Yeah,
super frowns.
What's the phrase?
Responsibility?
No.
Corruption.
Corruption.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Corrupts absolutely. And so Batman's like, we got to stop him. Like, he might be okay now, but he even says that, like, you know, how many of us stayed good? Mm-hmm. You know, look what happened to all the other heroes around and stuff. Like he's gonna go bad, and he has the power to destroy everything. So we need to put him down now before he becomes a threat. And then he's spending the rest of the movie looking for the white Portuguese. And at first he doesn't know what that is. He thinks it's a guy. Uh-huh. And we find out that in the Indian Ocean, they've been mining for kryptonite. These kids find this giant hunk of kryptonite. And so we find out that it's being shipped to LexCorp. I mean, we know that, but he finds out through Bruce Wayne at like a dogfight, underground dogfight, what the white Portuguese is. And Alfred even calls it out. He's like, Bruce Wayne found that, not the Batman. But anyway, so he's looking for the white Portuguese. He finally finds it. It's a boat. And so he wants what's being shipped in that boat. So he shoots a tracking device on it. And that's the scene in the preview of him like on a tower holding like a big gun.
Right.
I remember when the previews came out, we're like, oh my god, Batman's got like a sniper rifle. And it was kind of a sniper rifle, but it shot a tracking device.
Right. And that's also derivative of Dark Knight Returns.
And he shoots this semi-truck that they're loading it onto. Uh-huh. Like kind of near the back. Like near like the back door of the truck. And then he gets in his Batmobile and chases after it. And so they start shooting at the Batmobile. So he starts shooting back, killing all kinds of people.
Oh yeah, he fucking kills. He kills a lot of people. That was a great chase scene, though. I thought it was very good.
And like the whole back of the truck gets like ripped off, but at least one of the people in the back of the truck survives. Mm-hmm. The tracking device is like barely still on the truck, which was, I don't think that's where it was when he shot it. They moved it for after the truck got ripped, but then Superman comes down and stops the Batmobile, lets the truck go, and says, you know, rips the door off the Batmobile like in the preview, says like, you know, next time you see your spotlight in the sky, don't go to it. From now on, the Batman is dead. Mm-hmm. And he leaves, and Batman is like, "Oh, you bastard, let him get away." Then off screen,
was that the scene where he asks him if he bleeds?
Yes. Yeah. Do you bleed? Yeah. And then Superman flies away. You will.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. But Superman just lets the bad guys get away.
Yeah, that was really fucking dumb.
Yeah, and like, so the whole purpose of the scene was Batman has a tracking device on this truck to see where it goes. Then he decides to chase it right behind it, not like far back just to follow it
to see where it goes.
Yeah, like he's attacking it.
He puts a tracker on it and then runs it down.
Yeah, and then so you're thinking, okay, so he wants that crate.
Yeah, and
the whole action scene is he's trying to get that crate off the truck. Superman stops him. Off screen, he steals the crate from LexCorp because that's where it was going.
Right.
They show Lex Luthor coming to his building and there's glass
the lab
everywhere
is
and
decimated,
dead bodies because Batman killed people, maybe knocked them out, but probably killed them. And yeah, the thing is gone. So it's like, so you have an awesome chase action scene. He's trying to get this crate. He doesn't get it. Then off screen, he gets it in what was probably an awesome action scene.
Yeah.
So it makes that whole chase scene completely pointless because he didn't do his objective. Complete his objective. Then off screen, he completes his objective. It's like, oh, that's what's wrong with this movie. It's like, it's just so pointless.
Yeah. Well, we get to see the Batmobile in action.
That was cool. But then there was no point to it because he gets stopped by Batman, and then off screen, he finishes his task.
Yeah, I thought that was a missed opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like I said before, there's so much... there's an opportunity for another action scene.
Yeah.
We can see the Dark Knight, in action against these henchmen and whatnot. And yeah, we just miss it. We miss the whole thing. And we replace that with another fucking boring scene of Lois Lane talking to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a pretty bad part of this movie. Because, one, she didn't really have anything to do, really. And everything that she did do was just boring.
Yeah, she was running down this bullet, trying to find the origin of this bullet that she found in the Middle East scene.
Yeah.
And that could have been solved like that.
Yes.
We didn't need to chase her to fucking Washington and to all these places and
to this like FBI agent that she's like, hey, do this for me. And he's like, what? Want me to lose my job? Screw that. Then he does it anyway.
And then he does it anyway. Completely superfluous, unnecessary.
Yep. And then so like everything she's doing is pointless. But then but we find out that Lex Luthor is kind of pulling the strings about everything. He's the one that wanted the kryptonite. But then he wanted Batman to steal the kryptonite because he thought Batman's the only one that can kill Superman. He's the only one with the smarts, the tech, everything to actually do it. So he lets Batman steal the kryptonite, make his weapons with it to take Superman down. But I mean, later in the movie when they actually fight, like Batman somehow Lex Luthor knew exactly when, what night, at what time. Batman was like, "I'm calling Superman out tonight. Tonight I'm taking him down."
Yeah, it all worked out very well.
Yeah, so it's like, how did Lex Luthor know that tonight was the night that they were gonna duke it out? He didn't know, but I mean, it's so convoluted.
I was so disinterested in the Lex story, I didn't even catch that. Like, I knew he was the mastermind of it all somehow, but
yeah,
I was like, who cares? Like,
but I mean, okay, so there was a scene which was a cool scene. Bruce is going to a Lex party because he thought that Lex had some information that he needed on the White Portuguese. Mm-hmm. So during the party, he goes down, puts this thing on LexCorp's computers.
Yep.
And to download the files, and then later he can come back for it and then leave. He gets kind of caught down there by Lex's assistant. He's like, "Oh, I'm drunk looking for the bathroom." But then we have the awesome scene of him talking to Clark about, freaks dressed as clowns from the preview, which was awesome until Lex came and ruined it. But I mean, we find out that Lex knew who they were probably all along. Because at the end of the movie, he calls Superman Clark Kent, and he knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And as we find that out later, but at this party scene, when Bruce goes back to get the thing, because it's done downloading all the files,
right,
or uploading all the files, it's gone. And one woman stole it. So he goes and tries to chase her down, and later he sees her at a museum, and the curator says like, "Oh, here's the sword of Achilles or whatever," and so Bruce Wayne comes up to her and he's like, "That's a fake. The real one is hanging." She's like, "I know, it's hanging over the crypt or whatever she said." Did you understand that scene? Like, why was she there looking at that sword?
No.
I don't think anybody did. We had to be told that Diana Prince in 2016 or whenever this movie takes place is a what do you call those people, like an archaeologist basically. Like, she's an ancient relics something, like curator of something, like she deals in that type of stuff.
Okay.
So she was like doing that as her job, looking at this thing, like maybe she wanted to buy it for a client or something like that. So But we didn't understand that in the movie because I was like, why did she look at the sword if she knew it was a fake? Why was she there?
It's a good question, I suppose. I never really asked.
Right, but I mean, it's things like that. Like, but so Bruce Wayne is like, give me back my files. Like, I want that shit back. And she's like, well, the only reason I stole it is because Lex Luthor has a picture of me, and I want it back. It's like, but I can't decrypt the codes. So she's like, here, you do it. So he does.
Another wasted fucking scene.
Exactly. But their chemistry was great. Gal Gadot was great. She looks amazing. And I noticed she's, no matter what slinky dress she's wearing, she's always got some like piece of like shiny gold. Mm-hmm. Either as like a necklace or like the brooch that ties the dress together. Uh-huh. Some kind of shiny gold. And when I mentioned a couple weeks ago the picture we got of the new Wonder Woman cast, the photo, everyone's wearing gold. There's no color. There's no brown or reds or purples. It's all gold. So I think that's kind of the Themyscira thing is like gold. So I noticed that. She's always wearing some kind of shiny gold, but she was great. And their chemistry with Ben Affleck I thought was great. Right. Because I know in some of the comics, Batman and Wonder Woman are a couple instead of Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman. Right. So I was like, oh, maybe they're going that direction with Bruce Wayne and Diana Prince as a couple. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's kind of cool. But then so Batman gets the thing, he's decrypting it, and he falls asleep at the computer. And he has his nightmare scene where he's in the future in the desert, and there's the aliens flying around. And if you know comics,
it looks like a Kryptonian technology.
They look like Kryptonian kind of stuff, but everyone's pretty sure that's Darkseid, because Darkseid has these like flying minions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And remember I said at the end of Flashpoint Paradox, a portal opened up and like a monster flew out? Those are those monsters. Right.
Oh, yeah. But then Superman had his own minions.
Right. And so Superman is like kind of like a leader. Like people have like Superman patches and stuff like that. So
he's got his own army.
Yeah, he's kind of like this supreme leader. And so Batman's out to stop. He's slaughtering everybody, shooting people with guns, which could have been a really cool action scene. But I thought that was a really clunky action scene. I noticed that people were literally standing around waiting for Batman to punch them and stuff. Like, it could have been really cool, but I can tell, one, the suit's probably really heavy for Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah.
Plus the trench coat. And trying to remember all your moves and stuff. So, just to turn around and punch somebody probably took so much effort. It took a long time.
It did look like he had a lot. It just looked heavy.
Yeah, it really did.
All his movements were very, very slow. He looked like a dump truck moving around.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a great idea and it looked really cool. Yeah. But the actual fighting, I was like, well, that guy's just standing there waiting for him to turn around. But it could have been really cool if they just maybe, sped it up or something. I don't know. But he gets caught by Superman. We saw this in one of the previews. Superman pulls the mask off him and stuff, and then he wakes up and it was just a dream because he fell asleep at the computer. Then something rips out of the fabric of space, and this guy with this weird thing, he's got this weird armor on. He's like, you can barely hear and understand what he's saying, but he's like Bruce, no, did I come too early? It's all about Lois Lane, and Bruce was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it was a real shocking scene.
Yeah, I was super excited because I knew exactly what was happening.
Right, I knew,
and we kind of turned to each other and was like, oh, cool, Flashpoint. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I've listened to a lot of podcasts and other people talk about this, and even comic book fans had no idea.
They had no idea what was going on.
It was like, really? I don't read a whole lot of DC comics other than Batman. And I knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah, even if I hadn't seen Flashpoint Paradox a week before, right, I've still, read Crisis on Infinite Earths and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty obvious. I think it is a nod to the fans, because out of context, I mean, how would you know what that was? Right. We know in context what it is.
Yes, yeah. But people are saying that nightmare scene of the desert future is the actual future that Flash comes from. And he's going back in time to tell Bruce, gotta stop it. Yeah. Because he says, you were right about him. Probably Superman. He does
absolutely
get corrupted absolutely and take over the world. So we have to stop him now. But did I come too early? Because he doesn't know who Lois Lane is at this point. So there's that scene. But then he kind of wakes up. So it was was that a dream within a dream? Did either of them really happen? Was Flash does Flash have the ability to show people the future? without like it was really,
yeah, the dream sequence. How does he see that?
Yeah, it wasn't just a dream. Was it an actual vision of the future? And that's why it was Flash showing him. How was Flash showing him? Like,
either way, I like to think it was a vision of the future. And then we
absolutely.
have the Flash.
Yeah. And like that was cool, like because I knew it was the Flash and stuff like so. Like, I thought that was awesome. It looked really cool, like really like what the fuck is happening? And Bruce like
It was super trippy.
Yeah, and Bruce was like freaking out. Then he woke up again, so it was kind of like, well, was that a dream too? But it was really cool nonetheless. The thing is done decrypting at that point. We don't actually get to see. Well, no, he opens it at that point, doesn't he? And you see, LexCorp has these files on people, and they all have their own icons. Of Aquaman's A, Wonder Woman's double W's, and the Flash's lightning bolt in the circle.
Right.
But there was no Superman and no Batman symbol.
Correct. We also had the Cyborg one.
Oh, yeah, and the Cyborg one. But it was weird that Superman and Batman weren't there because, like I said later in the movie, we reveal that Lex knows who they are. So obviously LexCorp is finding all the other metahumans and finding out everything about them, and he has these files on them. So he obviously has a file on Batman, but it wasn't here. He obviously has a file on Superman, but it wasn't in these files.
It was pretty specific.
Yeah, it was specifically just those four. The four that we don't know anything about at this point. It's like, but they should have had Batman and Superman in there. So later in the movie, when he knows who they are, like, oh, it's because he has those files on him, But it wasn't there. But he doesn't open them at this point, the files on these other metahumans. But the rest of the movie kind of happens, like the whole Superman thing with him, being called out, like you need to take responsibility, come to this court hearing, and stuff. Then there's this subplot about this Wayne Enterprise employee that Bruce Wayne saved himself
in the beginning of the film.
In the beginning of the film, has no legs, and he blames Superman. He's getting checks from Wayne Corp or Wayne Enterprises, whatever it is, but he's not cashing them. He's sending them back, writing things on them. But really, we find out Lex Luthor is doing that. He's intercepting them, writing things, sending them back. But
so the guy's not getting his checks. And
so he's the one that goes and spray paints on Superman's statue, false idols or whatever. And Lex Luthor pays for this like crazy like Professor X wheelchair, and they take him. He's the one that's going to be like calling Superman out in court. And so Superman decides, all right, I guess I'll show up in court. It was kind of cool seeing him like walk up the stairs and walk through the hallway like as a normal person. He's not flying and doing super stuff.
Right.
And then he's standing there, and Lex Luthor sees him at the door, says something, and then he tells his assistant, save a seat for me. But he never shows up, and then everything explodes.
Right.
And because there was a scene earlier with him and Holly Hunter, and she's like, I don't believe anything you say. I don't like you. I think you're a scumbag, basically. And he's talking about his dad, how he thinks, angels come from above, demons come from below. He has this painting. He's like, he was wrong. Demon, come from above. Later, he flips the painting around, and they're talking about. She's like, you can call peach tea. You can call grandma's piss peach tea. Like, I still don't believe what you say or anything like that. And so when she's at court, she's giving this speech. And she looks at her drink, and she notices it says something. So she's kind of fluttering in her speech, and she slowly turns it. And it says "Grandma's peach tea."
Right.
It's piss.
It's piss.
And then the whole building explodes. Everybody dies except Superman. He's just standing there unscathed with a frown on his face, like he does the whole movie.
Right.
And
because there was a bomb in the
wheelchair.
In the wheelchair.
Right. And Lex knew that because obviously he put it there. But then immediately the news. After that, instead of being like, Superman didn't save anybody, did Superman do it on purpose? Like, did Superman destroy everybody? Like, they say, like, oh, it probably wasn't him, he probably didn't know about it, it was somebody else's fault. And so they immediately, well, then don't even show us that if you're just going to dismiss it. Like, there's so many scenes like that. And, like I said, this whole half of the movie, there was no, establishing shot of, DC or Metropolis. It was just scene.
What was funny was Metropolis right next to Gotham?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people complain about that.
Is that a real thing? I thought they were completely separate cities, but it seemed like Metropolis was right next door to Gotham.
Yeah, it was like New York City and Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
Just across the river from each other. It's the same metropolitan area, separated by a small body of water.
Okay.
Like the Twin Cities, St. Paul and Minneapolis. There are real cities like that.
Right.
I mean, even Phoenix, one of the biggest cities in the country, like 6th largest in the country. There's like 6 other cities around it. You would never know it's a different city.
Right, you got Mesa, you got
Gilbert, and all these things. And it's the same metropolitan area. It's just
we call it Phoenix.
Right. So that didn't bother me. It bothered a lot of people.
It didn't bother me. It was just confusing. It was like, I'll see you in Gotham. And it's like, oh, Gotham's just right. He's right over there. I can see him from here.
Yeah, I actually think that's a really cool idea that they're like sister cities, like right there. I actually think that's a really cool idea. But so that didn't bother me. But there's just so much that does. Just the whole first act. You can cut out half the scenes and it'd make more sense. But one of my favorite scenes when Batman was looking for the White Russian, he like goes and saves these people that were being like sold as slaves. They were like locked in a cage in some cellar, and like he goes and like slaughters everybody. And so the cops come down there because there was a disturbance call or whatever, and they find it's kind of creepy, you know, like, and they find these people in this cage and they're speaking another language, like saying like, oh, the devil, he's still here, and they're like, oh, let's get you out of here. And they're like, no,
yeah, and they shut the gate.
They want to stay.
No, we'll stay right here.
So they're looking around, and we see out of focus up in the corner Batman perched up in the corner, like hiding behind like the cops, and then he kind of like out of focus the whole time, like flutters, you know, knocks him down and like and leaves. Super cool. I thought that was awesome, and that's when you first see the dude branded. Right. It didn't really mean anything. They could have cut it out and it made no difference to the movie, but it was cool because you know, just that scene of Batman like out of focus, like perched in the corner, just looked so creepy. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. Is Zack Snyder going to do the Dark Knight movie? The Batman movie?
No, he is pushing for Ben Affleck to direct that one.
That might be interesting.
Yeah, I think that would be...
I like a lot of the choices that he made in this film.
Zack Snyder? Or
yeah, Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I mean,
for the Batman
he's a great visual director. Like, his action scenes are pretty badass. Like I said, that one was clunky, but it was probably because that suit probably weighed 50 pounds, you know, and it was so big that you can barely move. You know?
Right.
But... yeah, like we said, the chase scene was an awesome action scene.
Oh, yeah.
When we finally get to Batman versus Superman, it's a cool fight.
No, it's not.
You didn't like it?
No, that fight was dumb.
Oh, man, I thought it was cool. It was really slow. Like, it was like...
It was super slow. What was that about? Half that fight is just Batman walking over to Superman. Or Superman walking over to Batman.
That's true.
They don't really trade blows. Like, someone gets hit, someone falls down. There's a little talking and then some walking, and it was very annoying.
I did notice every time Batman got hit, he was like, ah!
It was not the slugfest that I wanted.
No, and it lasted like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Which was
for a movie that's called Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
That was almost the weakest part of it.
I mean, I thought it was cool visually, but you said it is slow, and not a whole lot is happening. But it still looked cool. Just the imagery of Batman in his Iron Man suit, you know, looked super cool. You know, and him, like, you know, actually, you know, beating up Superman was cool. But you're right, it was very slow, and it didn't last nearly long enough. And it came so late in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a long walk to that fight, and totally not worth it.
Yeah.
The Doomsday fight was very cool.
Yeah.
But the titular fight... Not so much. Not for me.
I mean, like I said, I liked the fact that it was happening, and when they actually were hitting each other, it was really cool. But you're right, it was, you know, Superman finally gets a blow in Batman, he flies, and, he gets up, you know, because he's really hurt, and then Superman walks over to him, and then Batman punches Superman, and Batman walks over to Superman, and Superman punches Batman, like...
Right.
So it was kind of slow and clunky, but I think just seeing it was really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I exactly wanted another like Superman Zod fight out of it, but it's not what I was hoping for.
No, but
I was
right before the slow fight.
Right before, that's what we'll call it, the slow fight.
Yeah, the slow fight. Bruce Wayne is training, his montage train, and I heard somebody say that, like, you know, Ben Affleck got in such good shape for this movie that it was probably in his contract. I have to have my shirt off to show what I've accomplished for this movie. Because I was wearing this, like, you know, big Batman suit and stuff. So.
That workout scene was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's just cool. Like old school working out. He's hitting tires with hammers. He's doing dips with 45-pound weights wrapped around his waist.
Yeah. Yeah. And, but yeah, it was a cool training montage.
fuck. If I look like that, I'd have to walk her. I wouldn't have worn a shirt half the movie.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh.
Yeah. In all those party scenes when I had, like, my shirt, like, wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was probably, maybe not in his contract, but he probably told Zach, like, dude, I've got to have my shirt off. Like, I've been in the gym 2 hours every single day for 2 years. I'm taking my shirt off.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a cool scene, and so you know, like, he's getting ready to fight Superman. You know, he's got these, he made these, like, smoke bombs with powdered kryptonite, and he made, like, this staff with, like, kryptonite blade that he was going to, you know, finally, you know, deliver the Christ death blow on the side.
Right.
Because we've
the
always,
spear to the side.
Yeah, like Christ. But then right before that, like, we see Diana Lane, or Diana Prince. Leaving. Because you know, she's like, nope, I gave up. She told Bruce, like, I gave up on humanity 100 years ago. Because Bruce Wayne finds the photo that she wanted back. He's like, oh, I found your photo.
Mm-hmm.
And it was of her in World War I with a group of guys.
With Captain Kirk.
Yes, with Captain Kirk. And so she's like, I gave up on humanity, you know, 100 years ago, and like, you know, I'm not gonna join it again. So she's about to get on a plane. Mm-hmm. Right before she gets on the plane, she's in, like, her hotel room, and she decides to open up the files.
Oh yeah, she looks through all this files.
Yeah, and this is right before Batman shines the light to call out
Superman.
Which, again, Lex Luthor knew this is the night he's calling out Superman, so I'm going to do my little scheme. So she finally decides to open up the files, which was the worst part of the movie, I thought.
It wasn't very interesting.
No. One, it's a stupid way to... Because, like, it's like, okay, we know Flash is going to be in this movie. We knew that. We knew they were going to put Aquaman in it and Cyborg. We knew they were going to be in it. We just didn't know how. You know?
Uh-huh.
And the way they used Flash initially, I was like, that's an awesome way to use Flash. The other guys, I didn't know what they were going to do, how they were going to do it. So it's these files that she opens and just watches. So we watch with her. But the file, the worst one was Aquaman.
Yeah.
It was just like a minute long of, like, these deep sea divers finding this wreck, and you see these, like, glowing eyes in the wreck, and then he kind of comes forward, and he just stares. He doesn't even have, like, a mean look on his face. He just has, like, a blank look
just
on his
looking
face.
at him. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just Jason Momoa just blankly looking at this camera, holding his trident, for, like, a minute straight. He just stares.
That's true.
And then he kind of lunges forward.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was really bad. If it was like 10 seconds long of him, like, you know, you see his eyes glowing and kind of rushing the camera, that would have been fine. Mm-hmm. But it was like a minute straight of him just staring at the camera.
Well, we had to see his hair flowing in the water.
Like, it was just really bad. And then the Flash one I thought was a really cool little video. He's, like, getting a soda from a convenience store. It's getting robbed. So, you know, we were seeing it through, like, the video footage from the convenience store, and he just, like, quickly, like, goes and stops the robber. And when he uses his powers, like, the electricity is flashing, there's, like, you know, wind everywhere. Like, it was really cool the way it happened. Like, he didn't just, like, zip over there, like, you know, like, oh, what happened? There was consequences, like, you know, things were getting all fucked up. Like, because he moved so fast, things were blowing off the shelves and stuff.
Right.
That was a really cool use of his powers, and visually seeing what his powers do. Then the Cyborg one was really dumb. It was really long.
It was like a guy stapled to a blackboard. And
and it was kind of like the thing from RoboCop. Like, it was like his head, a little bit of torso, and, like, his hand. And it was like, yeah, he was just, like, stapled to this wall, and this guy's, like, trying to use this weird alien technology, like, cube that keeps, like, dissolving into, like, little particles and stuff. He's trying to use that to save this person's life. Mm. And he's, like, making these video files, and he's like, it's not working, and I gotta try this. And it just went on way too long before finally formed
before Cyborg starts to...
And, like, so, like, that's how we get introduced to the rest of the Justice League, is through these video files that Lex Luthor, like, collected. And I was like, oh, God. Like, we already showed Flash, and that would have been cool, but this just kind of ruined it. And then she gets on a plane, Wonder Woman does, to go back home or wherever she's going. And then, like, somebody's watching the news on their laptop while she's getting on the plane, and it's of Lex Luthor. The ship from Man of Steel that still is the wreckage is still just in the middle of the city,
right?
With, like, a dome over it.
It's been covered with and
it's, like, producing electricity. Things are going crazy and stuff. So she's like, oh, maybe I should go do something about this. So she just gets off the plane and goes to help. Because throughout the movie, like, we find out Lex Luthor gets access to Zod's body, which they preserve, and the ship.
Right.
And so he goes into the ship with Zod's body and cuts his hand, makes it bleed into the water, And he's talking to the ship, and he's like, I want to reanimate, or whatever. And they're like, the computer says, oh, like, we haven't done that in 1,000 years. It's forbidden. And he's like, I don't care. Do it anyway. Okay.
Yep. It's just like, sure, but why not?
Yeah, so his blood mixed with the water that Zod is in, like, reanimates him into Doomsday.
Yeah, that connection is a very long stretch.
Yeah.
I have no idea how the science works on that one.
No, there was no way it would actually happen that way. He Frankenstein's Zod into Doomsday.
Yeah, so we get Doomsday. Yeah, which was cool.
I don't think it was very cool.
No, I liked the whole Doomsday thing.
See, like I said at the beginning of the discussion, they threw in some elements of The Dark Knight Returns, but they didn't do The Dark Knight Returns.
Right.
They threw in some elements of The Death of Superman. They didn't do The Death of Superman.
Right.
You know, it's like they picked at some of the better comic books ever, or comic book stories ever, and didn't do any of them justice, and just kind of threw them into this mishmash of a movie.
That's true.
So, I mean, I've always thought that The Death of Superman, The Reign of the Superman, and The Return of Superman would make the coolest movie trilogy ever. And they kind of just shove The Death of Superman into like the last 10 minutes of the movie. And
like we've been saying, there was nothing really to hold on to Superman about, right? Like, he was so mopey, he was so reluctant. Yeah. He wasn't the Christ figure that we've known him to be.
Right.
So he was just this kind of mopey douchebag.
Yeah.
So when he gets killed, it's like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
he was bringing us down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they didn't even follow through. He was still alive at the end. Like, you know, the dirt was coming up. So it's like they didn't even keep him dead by the end of the movie. They couldn't even stick to their guns. Because, like, from the previews, okay, like, I saw all the previews. I knew Doomsday was going to be in it.
Yeah, I didn't even see that coming.
Yeah, like, I knew that from all the previews that I've watched. So, like, I knew this Zod Doomsday was going to be in it. But I didn't even know that they were going to kill Superman. Because I thought, like, oh, that's just their way of bringing the Trinity together. Like, that's the biggest threat that Superman can't do on his own. You know?
Did you notice what they hammered home so much? Like, oh, good thing it's nighttime in the business district. Most everyone has gone home. Like, it's a good thing, you know. They kept announcing, like, on the news, oh, good thing there's no one in that building. Like, I think...
Yeah, because Man of Steel, probably millions of people died.
Yeah, and it's like they answered every complaint from Man of Steel.
Yep.
And it was like, from Man of Steel, why didn't he take him into space? So what does Superman do? One of the first things he does is take Doomsday into fucking space.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, oh yeah, they hammered that into
yeah.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the fight, like I said, Bruce is calling him out. And somehow Lex Luthor knows tonight's the night Bruce is calling him out.
Uh-huh.
He pushes Lois Lane off the building. Superman saves him, so he goes up to Lex, you know, to don't do that again. You know, and she says, like, you're going to go fight Batman. He's like, no, I'm not. He's like, well, yes, you are, because I have your mommy. And here's some pictures of me, you know, I kidnapped your mom, and you don't know where she is. Like, so you're going to go kill Batman for me, or she's going to die in an hour. In an hour, if Batman's head isn't in my hand, I'm going to kill your mom. So it was like, okay, fine. Which was like, it's like, okay, so the movie's called Batman v Superman. Batman wants to fight Superman. Superman just wants Batman to stop being Batman.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't want to fight him. He just wants him to stop. Because he's branding people and it's getting people killed in prison. I guess. That's really the only motivation we have, that Superman doesn't like Batman. Because Clark Kent keeps like saying, like, oh, Batman's a threat in Gotham. And Perry White keeps saying, nobody cares.
Right.
You know, water is wet. That's not news. The Batman's been around for 20 years. Who cares? Write about sports. And he keeps like, no, but Batman. It's like, Batman's not doing anything that he hasn't been doing already.
Yeah, how Kent had a job at the end of that movie, I have no idea.
I know. And,
his boss told him like 3 times not to write the fucking story, and he's still writing the fucking story.
Yeah, like, write about sports. And he shows him like the empty sports section of the newspaper. Why didn't you write about sports?
Boy, I wish I could tell my boss, like, I'll get around to it whenever I get around to it.
Yeah.
That shit don't fly where I work.
No. And so he goes to fight Batman, and they have their clunky fight, their slow fight.
Their clunky fight.
But it's like, that's how you get them to fight? I kidnapped your mom.
Yeah.
Now go fight Batman for me?
Pretty lame.
What?
Pretty lame motivation.
Yeah, like, you couldn't have built up actual tension between the two characters. Like, we know why Batman doesn't like Superman. he has absolute power, and he is eventually going to be corrupted by it. He's not now. Right now, he's just kind of moping around. But eventually, we need to make sure that doesn't happen. So I need to take him out now.
Mm-hmm.
There's Batman's motivation. Okay, I understand. But there's no motivation for Superman to fight Batman. His only motivation is...
No real motivation, yeah.
Yeah, I stole your mommy, so go kill Batman for me, or else I'm going to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, that's so stupid. That's so lame. You know, and then so they're fighting. Batman is kicking his ass towards the end of the fight. He's about to kill him with this kryptonite staff, and Superman says, like, they have Martha. And Batman's like, what? Like,
right.
They have Martha. I need to save Martha. And it keeps flashing to Batman, or Superman, Batman's origin. Because in the beginning, when his dad and mom are getting shot, his dad, like, was reaching out to his dead wife saying, Martha.
Right.
To establish Batman's mom is Martha.
His name is Martha.
They have the same name, both moms. So Batman's like, why'd you say that name? And so Lois Lane comes running in like, that's his mommy's name. So Batman's like, oh, we have the same mom's name. And initially it's like, that's why they stopped fighting? They have the same mom's name? But I guess a little bit more into it is, because Superman saying, like, I have to save Martha, that's why we're fighting. So Batman kind of realizes, this is my chance to save Martha, my mom.
Yeah.
Even though it's somebody else's mom, it's almost like closure for me. This is my chance to save a Martha, a mom. But then all of a sudden, we're best friends. You know, even though you can hear every person in the world, no matter what they're doing or where they're at, you can't find your mom.
Right.
And that's why we fought, because you have an hour to find your mom. Instead of doing that, you fought me.
Yeah.
So
that's true. I never even thought about that.
Because, he knew Lois was in trouble in the Middle East at the beginning of the movie. He flies there as fast as he could.
Absolutely.
And then...
He knew she was falling off a building.
Yeah, and flies and catches
her.
And then...
Why can't he find his mom?
Yeah, and then during the Doomsday fight, she gets trapped under some rocks in a puddle, and in like some kind of water. And she's like, banging on the rocks. And he goes and saves her. So it's like, well, you can't hear your mom muffled through the...
That's a good point.
But so Batman is like... And I think as this is happening, Doomsday is being created. So, Batman's like, I'll go save your mom, you go do whatever.
Uh-huh.
So he goes and saves his mom, which is the coolest action scene in the movie, I think. When he destroys all those guards or people in that warehouse.
Uh-huh.
He's like... we see it in the preview, like, Alfred takes control of the Batwing. He's like, there's a bunch of people on the third floor. Let me drop you off on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
So he busts through the floor because they think he's coming from the elevator. He busts out of the floor. He uses this like magnetic gun and like collects all the guns that these people have, so they don't have their guns. And he's kicking everybody's ass. He's like, his grappling hook grabs like a crate, and, like flips it over his head and smashes some person. He gets stabbed, so he stabs the guy back. And people saying like, oh, he killed that guy by stabbing him. He's like, well, he stabbed him probably in the shoulder. That's what it looked like to me.
He might have killed that guy.
Well, yeah, he probably did. But
if you go back to the vehicle chase scene,
he kills.
He fucking straight up kills people.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's something they let go.
In this fight, like he's like taking some dude by the face and like smashing him into this crate. Like that probably killed the dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, he probably kills a bunch of these people, but he saves. But no, the dude has a gun to Martha Kent's head.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do it. And he's like, I believe you. Like in the comic.
Right.
And then he shoots the dude.
Fires the M60, just like in Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, so he obviously kills that guy.
Oh yeah, that guy gets killed by fire.
Oh yeah. And so he saves Martha Kent, and he's like, I'm a friend of your son's. She's like, oh, I figured by the case.
Yeah. All of a sudden they're friends?
Yeah. It's like, I was just literally about to kill him with a kryptonite spear. He said your name, and now we're best friends. So, another failure of the movie.
Yeah, that I thought was a big leap. I'm like,
yeah.
whoa, you're friends already?
Yeah. Yeah. But then Doomsday shows up. So Batman's coming back from saving Martha to join the fight. And right before he gets out of the Batmobile, Doomsday's about to shoot some laser beams at him. He's like, oh, shit. But then, boom, a big explosion. Wonder Woman stepped in the way to save the day.
Right.
Superman didn't, because he's a mopey bastard and didn't do anything. But then, so she joins the fight. They have the stupid scene of, she with you? Oh, she was with you. And so they fight Doomsday, and it's a pretty cool fight, the choreography and stuff. Lois Lane, because at the beginning of the fight, they're in Metropolis. And you hear the news, It's a good thing downtown Metropolis is deserted at night.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. There's no nightlife in Metropolis. There's no bums. There's no taxi drivers. It's deserted.
Bullshit.
There's nobody there. Yeah. One of the biggest cities in the country, and there's nobody downtown.
I mean, there's Mexicans cleaning up the buildings, but we don't count those as people, so...
Right, exactly. Yeah. So then they take the fight to the bay, the Gotham Harbor, and Batman says, it's deserted.
Oh, yeah.
So there's nobody there. That's where the Doomsday fight starts. Lois Lane, because she knew this spear was going to kill Superman, so she throws it down this hole with a bunch of water in it.
Yeah.
Which I thought Aquaman was going to come out of, but he never did. That would have been a better reveal of Aquaman than the stupid video file.
That would have been a better reveal.
Yeah. So she throws it down there, and then somehow later in the fight, she realizes... They
got to go back and fucking get it.
Yeah, and help, because she was never told, hey, this is Zod, a Kryptonian.
Right.
We can use that staff. So go get it. She just kind of knows, I need to go get the staff to help.
We could have skipped that whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Just, we know where the spear is. It's in that building, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. She didn't need to throw it down the hole.
No.
It was just a way to get her trapped.
Just having her go back and fetch it, I was like, ugh, fuck.
And she just kind of knew to do it.
Right.
I guess she might have figured, that's probably a Kryptonian because it came out of that ship. So, this could probably kill a Kryptonian. But so she goes and gets the thing, but she gets trapped because, the building's, all destroyed from, whatever. And so she's trying to, be saved. Superman stops fighting Doomsday to go save Lois, gets the staff. And like you said, in the beginning of the fight, he takes Doomsday up to space. Then the government says, they're in space. If we launch a nuke now... there will be no fallout over Gotham and Metropolis because they're so far up. So they fire a nuke and nuke them in space.
Right.
And Zod falls back to Earth, Doomsday, and Superman's up there unconscious still. And Zod, he goes through all these changes, the nuke kind of helped him out. Now he, his bones are coming out of his skin because at first he was just the cave troll from Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And then he's...
then he starts to look like Doomsday
then he looks like Abomination from the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
With the stuff sticking out of him. And then, so one woman's, pretty much kicking his ass. Having a fun time about it, too. She gets knocked over, and she, gives a smile like, all right, I haven't done this in a while.
Right.
Because she said something earlier about, I've taken down my fair share of monsters or whatever. And Batman's doing nothing. Batman is literally just getting out of the way. He
is just getting out of the way.
And, Lois Lane is doing more in the fight than Batman is. Until Superman goes to save Lois, and now, so he goes down to get the staff, and he barely gets back up because, it's kryptonite. He's dying.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's saying, Lois Lane is my life. She is my world. And then, so finally he smiles. He's like, I love you. Now I know why I need to be Superman, to protect the ones I love. Again, at the end of Man of Steel, he became Superman, Clark Kent working at the Daily Planet, But then in this movie, he wasn't that Superman, So we had a whole movie where he wasn't Superman in Man of Steel. He was trying to find out who Superman was. We thought at the end that he found it, and now he's Superman from the comics. But no, that was wrong.
This is that movie.
At the end of this movie, he's Superman from the comics. He takes the staff, the last muster of energy, is going to fly it into Doomsday's body so he can kill Doomsday. And Wonder Woman's got her lasso around him, and Batman shoots his last pellet of smoke to weaken Doomsday, and then Superman drives it home, and then Doomsday Zod stabs him in the chest with his elbow, because of the spikes in his elbow, and they're both weakened because they're both around the kryptonite and stuff, so they're both about to die, and they both die.
Right.
Which, like I said, I didn't see that coming. I knew that Doomsday was going to be in it, but I knew it wasn't actually Doomsday, so I didn't think that they were actually going to kill him, not in this movie, But they did. So I was like, wow, that was kind of interesting. Then there's two funerals, but only one body. A national funeral for Superman, and a small funeral for Clark Kent. And at the Clark Kent funeral is where Bruce and Wonder Woman are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking like, we need to get the other superhumans together, because there's going to be a big fight. She's like, how do you know? Like, just a feeling. And so she leaves, and then Lois Lane, puts the first dirt on the casket and walks away. And then the last shot of the movie is the dirt on the casket starts to rise.
Mm-hmm.
Cut to black. So overall, the first half of the movie could have been cut. We didn't even talk about Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he was too Joker-like for me.
Yep.
I think that's a complaint we all voiced. I would like to see a more true to form, stoic, menacing Lex Luthor, and not this defecting, wacky mad scientist.
Jesse Eisenberg from the get-go, I was like, that's a terrible, terrible choice.
Yeah.
And that one preview that I liked, the scene where Bruce and Kent are talking to each other about, freaks dressed as clowns, ruined by Lex Luthor. Ooh, don't fight this person. And like, oh god, it's so bad. In the movie, I didn't really mind it because it's like, okay, that's what he's doing. He's going for it. And he did it, and he did it well. What he did, but it's not Lex Luthor. It's the Joker or the Riddler or some other character.
Right.
But Jesse Eisenberg doing that, he did just fine at that.
I think I'd rather see him do the Mark Zuckerberg character than that wacky Joker character.
Yeah, it was basically that, just more exaggerated.
Yeah.
There was one scene that I liked it, and at his party, he was kind of giving like a speech, thanks for coming, all these things, and he kind of like starts going on a tangent about how he hates people and society is terrible, and he's like, no, that's not right. He's kind of like talking to himself and kind of correcting himself, like, thanks for coming,
Right.
So like that was kind of a scene. I was like, oh, cool. He is kind of just like in his own thing, like he hates people, and it kind of slipped out like in public. People are probably recording this, and like, oh, sorry,
Right.
That was all right, but overall, like, yeah, it should have been. Billy Zane should have played Lex Luthor because he's actually got a shaved head now.
Yeah.
He's of proper age now, a little bit older than 33 or whatever Jesse Eisenberg is, and but he's got the stature, the look. I mean, if you saw a picture of him now,
if he can keep it like menacing, like in Titanic, I think that'd be good. Yeah. But I think he has a tendency to go over the top. Oh yeah, he'd make a good Luthor.
Yeah, he looks just like
Luthor.
Yeah. That's a guy that I can see being like, okay, if he put on an Iron Man suit, he could go toe-to-toe with Superman.
Oh, yeah.
He can run for president and win the presidency.
Right.
Like in the comics. He can be a mad scientist and an entrepreneur and a big corporate guy. Not Jesse Eisenberg, wearing a clear jacket and Converse shoes the whole time with red pants and like just being like this little weirdo that has daddy issues. I
do not know why they picked Eisenberg.
Yeah.
It was he was completely miscast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he did what he could with the parts.
Yeah, like I said, like what he did wasn't Lex Luthor.
No.
But he did just fine at what he did.
Yeah, but I would have gone a different way.
Oh yeah, no, everybody would have. It was not Lex Luthor. Yeah, and so, that was bad. But the whole movie, like, the first half could have been cut down. Superman was the worst part. Take him out, you would have a decent Batman movie.
Absolutely.
Wonder Woman was cool. So there was good in it. Batman was cool. Alfred was pretty cool. Wonder Woman was cool. Perry White did just fine. Pretty much, do your job, damn it, But Superman was the worst part. And it's a sequel to his movie.
Yeah.
And he's the worst part. He's not Superman until the end when he finally realizes, like, oh, I need to save the day. It was just so bad. The video files were stupid. Why wasn't there one on Superman and Batman? Because obviously Lex Luthor knows who they are. There should have been a file on them. Very disappointing.
There was a lot of fluff, a lot of...
Yeah. Very, very disappointing. The whole dude in the wheelchair, all of that could have been cut out.
Yeah.
Cut this movie down to an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been much better.
I agree.
Yeah. But would you recommend this movie to anybody?
I think it's worth a watch. Would I call it a great movie? No. I was entertained for the most part, but again, I thought it was way too long. But when it comes down to it, it's pretty forgettable. Not utterly forgettable, but pretty forgettable and not a great summer movie. So, if you're super excited about seeing it, go ahead and watch it. Otherwise, don't bother. Yeah. Watch something else.
I would recommend you rent this from the Redbox when it comes out in a couple of months, because it only takes 3 months now. Especially if the movie doesn't do well, it'll be out in no time on video.
Yeah.
So, it's what, beginning of April. It took 4 months for Star Wars to come out, 4 or 5 months. So it won't take very long. You don't have to wait very long.
No, we'll be seeing this pretty soon.
Yeah, so rent it on Redbox if you really want to watch it. Other than that, it wasn't good enough to spend $7 or more. So definitely don't see it in 3D to waste the money, because this movie doesn't deserve $10 or more being spent on it. Rent it if you really want to see it. Rent it.
Yeah, if you really want to see it.
Yeah, because otherwise,
if you kind of want to see it,
yeah, you don't need to see it.
Yeah, if someone's watching it, maybe sit down and watch it with them, and that's about it.
Yeah, because it could have been a good Batman movie, but it wasn't a good Justice League introduction.
Yeah, I agree. I think DC's getting off on a really bad foot. I think they need to change something.
Yeah, they definitely need to change the no fun allowed, no smiles allowed.
Yeah, that's a good point. Where's the fun? Where's the sense of fun that we get in the Avengers movies?
Yeah.
You know?
I think they're trying to do the exact opposite of Marvel. Marvel has fun, has color, has jokes. So we can't. We have to have no color, no fun, no jokes.
Yeah, and we all know that doesn't have to be the way it is. I mean, with The Force Awakens, you can still have serious themes and have have some lightheartedness, have some fun to a film.
Oh yeah.
Like
I just watched Zootopia a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Mentioned it. It was dealing with like racism, women in the workplace, women's rights and stuff. And it's a bright, colorful, fun Disney movie.
Right.
And it still dealt with those issues. They did it just fine. It was a great movie. You can do it,
Yeah.
I think they need to get Zack Snyder out of there. Get David Goyer out of there. But yeah, don't spend your money to watch it if you're not super, super interested. Because they don't do Superman.
And if you're super interested, you've already seen it.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly, yeah. Because like we said, by the time this podcast comes out, it'll have been in theaters for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So you've had your time, don't watch it. Just
Yep. Yeah, who cares?
Just ignore it. Take up a new hobby.
Yeah.
Gardening.
Yep, gardening. Board gaming.
Board gaming.
There you go.
That's a better 2.5 hours spent.
Yes, much better than this garbage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mostly garbage. It wasn't quite the last Airbender garbage.
Yeah.
But it was close. Alright, well, moving into board game news.
Board game news. Not a lot this week. Just a couple things I was kind of interested in. I've talked about, they'll make a board game out of anything.
Right.
And I think this is proving it. These couple items I pulled off the internet today, it's just like, what the fuck?
Really?
So the first one I saw was Sharknado.
Oh my!
They're making a Sharknado board game.
Oh my god!
The sci-fi, they're sci-fi, right? Sci-fi films?
No, they're not Sci-Fi Channel. No, it's
not Sci-Fi Channel. It's
what's that production company? Asylum.
Yeah, I've seen Sharknado. It was an interesting experience. Not one I care to have again.
Right.
But fuck, they're making a board game out of it.
They made 3 Sharknado movies.
I know, they're on the third one.
Yeah.
And why not? I guess someone will be into that. I mean, they made a third one,
right.
So there's some kind of market for it.
Exactly.
And if you can market anything, you can make a board game out of it, which is fine. I'm glad to see that companies are embracing the board gaming community and taking advantage of that avenue of merchandising. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to play this game.
No, I don't think I would ever play it. It seems like it would be one of those generic like Monopoly games.
I don't know. It's going to be co-op, so everyone versus the game.
Okay.
And there's going to be dynamite and chainsaws and all kinds of stuff. So who knows? If Tara Reid's acting is any indicator of the level of quality that Sharknado produces, I can't say I put my trust in this game being any good. But We'll see. The next thing, it just blew my fucking mind. Like, they will literally make anything into a board game.
Yep.
The Insane Clown Posse
oh my God.
is going to have a trading card game coming out this July.
Wow, that's pretty soon.
And it's going to be called Into the Echo Side. I don't know anything about Insane Clown Posse. I've known Juggalos.
Okay.
And that's as close to the Insane Clown Posse as I want to get. Is association through Juggalos. I mean, they're nice enough people, I guess. Right. It's a whole.
It's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle. They seem to have their own.
I'm a fan of that band. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it makes perfect sense. This another avenue of merchandising. I think a trading card game is perfect. I mean,
is that what it is? A trading card game?
Yeah, it's going to be a trading card game.
Okay, so
probably something like
Magic.
Yeah, it'll probably be like Magic in a way.
Okay.
It didn't have anything about the mechanics of it, but it'll probably be like a Magic or maybe even a Pokemon or something more simple like that.
Right.
I'm kind of glad they're doing it. I mean, because I think it's great to get everyone into gaming, but fuck, I can't stand behind this product at all.
All right, back in like 1999, 2000, maybe even a little bit 2001.
Is this your confession? Are you?
I was a huge ICP fan.
Okay.
I wouldn't go as far as saying I was like a juggler. Like, I didn't wear nothing but ICP clothing, which is what juggalos wear. They wear nothing but Hatchet Man.
Let me see your Hatchet Man tattoo. I know you have one.
I don't have any tattoos, actually.
Okay.
But no, I never wore like I had like one ICP shirt, the Ringmaster, most of their first album, because like in like '99 is when the Amazing Jekyll Brothers CD came out. That was like their fourth Joker's card of 5. Because they were like a themed band, obviously like the whole clown thing. But like even their music, their albums, it was all like, because like like Pink Floyd or whatever, they had like a story album. Mm-hmm. The whole album was telling one long story.
Right.
They had like a story career.
Yeah.
Every album like they had a story like.
I think they call it a concept album.
Right, concept album. Yeah, and they had like a concept.
So they have a concept band.
Right, like, and it was the whole thing was like, by the 5th Joker's card album, when that drops, is when the world was going to end. Basically, like it was going to be some type of like Armageddon and stuff, and so like they in their music they'd always talk about it. Shangri-La, all these things, and I started listening to them when Amazing Jekyll Brothers came out. I was like 13. It was like it was that time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's when like most people get into that type of stuff. Is like right around when they start becoming a teenager, and their first like 5 albums up until Jekyll Brothers were really cool. Some of their stuff like it's super funny, especially some of their earlier stuff like Riddle Box. Like the music itself was very interesting. It was hip hop, obviously,
right?
But like some of the early stuff, like they used like laughter as the beat.
Okay.
So it wasn't just like a hip hop beat with like some guitar or whatever. It was actually like a riddle box, like a Jack in the Box. Like that type of like clown laughter was the beat of the song. So like it was very interesting, very.
It's kind of interesting.
The types of songs they had, like they talked, like one of the songs was about this kid showing his toys at show and tell, where the toys were alive and would like kill people and stuff. Like, so it was interesting, and I was into them for a while, but I dropped out of it. I never became like full on Juggalo and stuff, but I was definitely a fan for a little bit, and I can still go back now and listen to their old stuff. Like, oh man, I love it. I still know a lot of the lyrics and stuff, but. So I can see, especially since, like we said, it is a lifestyle. These people are obsessed. Yeah. They don't just, like I did, like the band. Like, I'm a big Beatles fan. I'm a huge Beatles fan. But Juggalos, like, that's their life.
Well, you don't dress like John Lennon or anything.
No, yeah, exactly. I don't, like, emulate them. And
it's just another avenue of nerd culture, I think. It's definitely another thing to geek out about. And it's like, I'm trying to think maybe what's the difference between someone who likes the ICP and someone who's a huge Harry Potter fan and
right, yeah,
or a Doctor Who fan, the Whovians.
Right, and those people like that cosplay,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not that much different. So I'm actually kind of glad they're making a card game because, like, oh, cool, now Juggalos have like a game to play. Yeah, like you said, it's great to bring people into our world.
Yeah, just the whole. Reflexively, the whole ICP thing just makes me roll my eyes. But it's another geek culture, and the games market is tapping into that. And I'm actually kind of curious about it. I don't think I'll start collecting or anything, but I want to see what they do with it. The last thing is, we talked about Goonies a couple weeks ago. Their Kickstarter is going really well. They've made $43,000 over their $10,000 goal.
Nice.
And there's 7 days left on their Kickstarter. So it looks like they're doing really well, and people are excited about it. So I think it'll be a good game. You can go on the Kickstarter right now and check out a gameplay video, see how that looks.
Nice. Yeah, that's the one that I thought sounded like really interesting to play. Like,
yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to playing that one. All right, well, moving into our spotlight on a board game, we played Blood Rage.
Blood Rage.
Now, I had never heard of this game, but there's like a million board games I never heard of.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, most of my gaming was like 10, 12 years ago. But I met up with you at the local board game shop this week, and we played Blood Rage.
Yeah.
And this game, it looked beautiful. It was beautiful. The art on it was awesome. The little figures were cool. I wish they were painted.
Yeah, it's hard to get pre-painted miniatures, but those miniatures are beautiful.
Yeah.
Blood Rage had a very, very successful Kickstarter last year.
Oh, that's
they
a
met
Kickstarter game.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a Kickstarter game. I can't remember what this designer has done, but he's done other stuff. That was pretty successful. I think Blood Rage is a derivative of another game that he's done in the past, but it's kind of refleshed and worked out.
Right.
But yeah, the miniatures were a huge selling point of the game. And the theme is, it's old Norse kind of tribal warfare.
Right.
You have Norse gods and trolls and a couple different kind of monsters.
Yeah, yeah, it was very cool. Very like Vikings and stuff.
Yeah,
cool.
it's very Viking themed.
Mm-hmm.
So each person will take on their own
clan.
The clan will be made up of one leader, some warriors, and then you can actually get cards to recruit the monsters that are available.
Right.
So the monsters will actually join your team, and you'll utilize them and their powers to help you win the game. It's called Blood Rage because the rage is kind of your currency for actions. That's what you use to execute your maneuvers and your cards and stuff like that. Basically, for the theme, what would you call that? Is that
With like the mechanic of the game?
well, with Yggdrasil and all that? Is that that's just Norse mythology, right?
Yeah, because when your units die, they go to Valhalla.
Right.
So yeah, it's very Norse mythology. I
think it's just all fake places from Norse mythologies.
Yeah, I think so too, because Jotunheim was on the board.
Right.
So yeah, it's very.
So you're battling in
like the 9 realms.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
That makes sense.
Right, and us being, well, at least me being superhero fans and stuff, Thor.
Yeah.
I actually learned quite a bit of Norse mythology from Thor, and because I'm just interested in mythology, so I knew some of it already. Yeah, it was cool that, seeing the names, like, oh, cool, Jotunheim and stuff like that, and Valhalla, and the Valkyries.
The Valkyries.
And you have cards in your hand that you play, and they do certain things at certain times. There's battle cards, there's upgrades for your warriors, upgrades for your leader, upgrades for your monsters, and then just things that, like, you put into play. So when a battle happens, like, oh, if I get killed in battle, I get this. Or if I kill you in battle, I get this. Or things like that.
Yeah, so it's basically an area control combat game.
Right. There's the main map, which is the map of all these places. And then you each have your personal map, which is, basically you're keeping track of the rage is your currency.
Your stats, you have your player board.
And your stats, and through battle and pillaging and all these other things that happen in the game, you up your 3...
You subtly
tracks.
Yeah, incrementally start raising your stats, so you get stronger and stronger. You'll have more rage to spend throughout the game.
Right.
You'll get more victory points for winning battles.
Exactly.
And you'll be able to put more characters on the board.
Yeah, those are the 3 tracks. So yeah, you can increase all those things that help you throughout the game, because you only put 4 units on the board at a time.
Initially,
until you upgrade your
your
stat.
Horns. That's what they call that stat. Your horns.
When you upgrade that stat, you can start placing more figures on the board, but there's only so many spots in each area.
Right.
It was kind of like it was like a mixture of all kinds of games that I've played before. With area control, like you place your things, but then it had like the card aspect.
Some like hand management.
Yeah, exactly. And the coolest part I thought was there's 3 rounds. In each round, there's a bunch of phases.
Mm-hmm.
But at the start of the round, there was 4 of us playing. So you cut the the first round to deck, because each round you get like a new deck of cards to choose from.
Right, you're gonna have phase 1 deck, phase 2 deck,
phase
and phase
1 deck.
3
You
deck.
split it into. There were 4 of us, so 4 equal parts.
4 equal piles.
And so in my pile that I get to choose 1 card and then pass the rest along.
Right.
And so on. So you're building your hand, but through this rotation of cards. So like I was like, wow, this is really interesting, because I'm not sure if I've ever had to do that in a game before.
Yeah, you're drafting your hand, so
right,
that's a great part, because you might be looking at 3 excellent cards, but you can only pick one of them.
Right, yeah.
And it's, which one are you going to pick and then give to one of your opponents?
Yeah, so then they're looking at the remaining 2 of the 3 cool ones and whatever, they pick, and so you might not even get, because there's 8 cards.
Yeah, it's usually 8, I think.
Yeah, so by the time it gets back, that hand, that little stack of deck gets back to you to draft from that, oh, that one I wanted.
Yeah, now you know someone picked that card.
Yeah, so that was a cool aspect of the game, the drafting the cards, and then those are the cards that you can put into play throughout the game. There's battle cards, so when a battle happens, it's a +3 or whatever, plus something, and then maybe there's some text that says, something, I win just hands down, or if I lose, I get plus this, or if I win, this happens and stuff. And that'll be on the battle cards. Then there's the upgrade cards to upgrade, like I said, your leader, your warriors, your monster, your boat, because you have boats in the game that just kind of support battle. And, they all do special things and stuff like that. And
pretty much any upgrade you get is going to be worth it.
Yeah, and then there's just cards that you play. You can only play 3 at a time. You play 1 at a time, but only 3 can be played ultimately on your board.
Right.
What were those cards called? Just the
quest cards?
No.
You have upgrades. You have battle cards. You have
the quest. But I remember at the top of the board there was only place for 3 cards.
You have clan upgrades. You have warrior upgrades.
Oh, those are the clan upgrades.
Yeah, clan upgrades.
Yeah, so there was the leader, the warrior, and the clan upgrades. There's only 3 spaces for clan upgrades. But then, throughout the game, it's through round 1, it's only if you die, you get +1. Then round 2, you can have a card that says if you die, you get +3.
Victory points for...
Right, so it's I want to replace that +1 with this +3.
Right.
So you just put it right on top. So ultimately you can only have 3 cards out at a time that can help you out in your clan when things happen and stuff, but you can constantly upgrade those 3. So it's not just the same 3 from round 1. You can keep replacing them, basically.
Yeah, and that's something I like, asymmetrical gameplay. What's interesting about this one is everyone starts exactly the same.
Yes.
And as more and more upgrades come out, each army will be different, a little different. They'll have their own monsters, they'll have their own warriors, some leaders will be much different. So it actually gets more and more asymmetrical the further along in the game you go, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and at the start of the game, one area has already been demolished, so nobody can go there no matter what. And then there's one predetermined area that will be destroyed by Ragnarok at the end of the round.
Right.
And if you have characters there at the end of the round, they get destroyed by Ragnarok. But that's a good thing for you, because you get victory points because of that.
Yes, you get glory for dying in Ragnarok.
Yes. And then at the end, after Ragnarok, anybody who's in Valhalla gets given back to you. And sometimes you have cards that say, when my guys come back from Valhalla, I get this, whatever it happens to be.
Generally speaking, you'll get victory points for characters coming back from Valhalla.
Right. And,
it's a great card.
In each area, there's a little counter. In each area, there's so many spaces that people can be at, and you can pillage that counter. Whatever that counter is, whether it be rage or horns or victory points. So you can, you pillage. And if there's other people in that area or the adjacent area, and you declare, I'm going to pillage this round, they can be like, well, I'm going to stop you. If I'm in the adjacent area, I'm going to join that to stop you from pillaging. If the person stops you from pillaging, they don't get that whatever it is that you're trying to pillage. They just stop you.
Right.
And if you win, you obviously get what you pillaged. And so that makes for interesting battles. And because you can, if you're not in that spot already, you can choose to be in that spot if you're in the adjacent area. and then battles happen. You play your battle cards and stuff. And one of the other cards was the quest cards, but you can play just face down so nobody can see what they are.
Right.
And their objective is have the most units in Jotunheim.
Yeah, quest cards are just objective cards.
Yeah, and it was my first time playing this game. And you had played it a few times before, so you kind of knew.
Yeah, this is probably the 4th or 5th time I played this game.
So my whole thing was okay, well, this place is being Ragnaroked at the end of the round. I want to have some guys there at the end to get points for being destroyed in Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. That ultimately was a bad idea because other players had the same idea, so we were constantly fighting for that
everyone
area.
was fighting to go into the area that was going to get leveled.
Yeah, so we kind of just kept destroying each other to keep our guys there. And
which is not a bad strategy if you have the card that'll let you pull guys, that'll give you victory points for everyone you bring back from Valhalla.
Right. And I had that at round 2 or 3. That,
right.
But especially that third round, we were really scrambling to get to the place with Ragnarok. And
because each one who's killed there is worth 4 victory points.
Right. And
it's not bad.
I had a card that said double your points for anyone destroyed in Ragnarok. So I was like, cool.
That's a good
I definitely
card.
want to be in the place that's getting destroyed, but so did everybody else.
Right.
Except you.
Except for me.
Yeah, you were just kind of oh, well, I have all these things that I can do, and so you kind of just on the other side of the board, pillaging those areas with nobody stopping you because we're all on the other side of the board and we can't do that. And
right.
So you blew us away by 200 victory points or whatever. But
it was 100 or so.
Yeah. But so me and the other players kind of got pigeonholed into that's what we want to do, not kind of venturing out into doing anything else.
Yeah, and which is not a bad way to play. And that's just kind of learning the system, Each board game has its ins and outs, and this one, I think you guys were much more aggressive than I've ever seen first players go before.
Oh, really?
There was a lot of fighting, and usually it's people kind of turtling like I did.
Right.
But yeah, there was a lot of fighting, which was fun to watch.
Yeah, I know. I think it was the last round. The three of us, other players, were on the place that was going to be destroyed, so we wanted to stay there for when Ragnarok happened. I was out of rage, so I couldn't actually do anything. I couldn't pillage the area.
Right.
I couldn't place more people. I could just sit back and wait for the game to be over, basically.
Uh-huh.
But I could still fight when other people wanted to pillage.
Correct.
So the place that was going to be destroyed during Ragnarok still had its counter to be pillaged. So other people would be in that spot and they'd be like, well, I'm going to pillage. So I just kind of defend. But I kept winning because I had the most units there and I had all these cards +6, plus I get whatever. So I just kept beating them in battle. But the other two players, one of them, after they get destroyed, they can automatically put one back where they came from. So she was actually my girlfriend. She kept being replaced right there.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah, and then the other guy playing had a card when he places one unit, he automatically, for free, without using any more rage, can place another at the same time.
Right.
So the very next turn, she was already there because she just automatically gets one person there after dying, and he would place one, automatically place two. So then we fight again,
and it just kept happening and happening.
So it eventually never got pillaged.
Right.
This area, and you went around the whole board pillaging everywhere else, but but the one place that was going to be destroyed during Ragnarok couldn't get pillaged because I kept stopping everybody else from pillaging it.
Right.
But we all wanted to be there at the end of the game, so they kept going to that spot instead of somewhere else to pillage. So it just made for battle after battle after battle, and I just kept stopping them from pillaging it. But I couldn't actually pillage it, and I had a card earlier in the game that said, I can re-pillage something that's already been pillaged.
Right, because generally you can't pillage after something's been pillaged. So
I was like, sweet, I'm just going to go to this place where nobody's at, because it's already been pillaged, and just re-pillage it, and it was rage, and just pillage, and the next turn pillage, next turn pillage, and just keep upping my rage until it's at the max. Mm-hmm. And then I can do all kinds of stuff in the next round, because I have so much rage. But you're like, no, I think it's just for battling. I was like, I don't know. It says one card says battle, this one says pillage, and
yeah, it's tough because the only way you can get into fights is by stopping someone from pillaging.
Right.
Someone wants to pillage something, you roll in there and say, no, you can't pillage this. I'm gonna fight you for it.
Right.
Your ability's cool because it allows you to start fights, which is the pillaging action.
Right.
And I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I kept complaining. Like, no, seriously, I wasn't like actually pissed. Like, oh, fuck.
No, I get it.
Yeah. But I was like, oh, come on. Like, it says pillage.
It does say
battle.
pillage, but
if there's nobody there to battle, I can still re-pillage it, even if there's nobody there. But you're like, no, I don't think so. It's because there are other things besides just pillaging to get whatever it gives you. Like you said, like somebody else pillaged and I had to defend because I couldn't pillage myself because I ran out of rage.
Right.
But if I died, I got victory points because of my cards or whatever, and I stopped them. And so if I won, I got victory points, and then I could up my thing. So you're right. There were other things besides just pillage that square for whatever the square told you to get.
Right.
It was battle. So I mean, I understood that I couldn't just go to a blank space where nobody was there to battle me and just repillage.
Well, what that's useful for is if you have the area like Ragnarok, that's going to be leveled at the end of the game, and you want to get foothold in there.
Right.
You want other people to not have victory points in there. If it's already been pillaged,
I can declare.
You go in there, you pillage, and then you just fight the people in there,
right,
and get them out of there.
Right. So I understood. I was like, oh man, like that's why I played the cards, so I go to that empty spot and just keep getting rage. But
so your first time playing Blood Rage, what did you think?
I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Both my girlfriend and I, because she's like even more of a beginner in board gaming than I am, because I played quite a bit like 10 years ago, but it's been so long, I'm a beginner again. And playing a game like this, I've never played before. It's got quite a few different elements happening.
Yeah.
As somebody, you were the one explaining it. It was just like, oh my god, there's so many rules. Like, it's kind of like like I'm never gonna understand.
Right.
But once you start playing, and she felt the same way. Like I didn't think I was gonna understand at all when he was explaining it to me. But once you play, a few turns, and even that first round, once that first round was over, I was like, okay, now I really understand.
Yeah, that's one thing that's great about Blood Rage is it can be initially intimidating with all the things going on, but the concepts are super simple.
Yeah. You spend rage to play things, whether it be placing a guy, starting a fight, or pillaging, or playing a card,
or putting guys out, or moving guys.
To do that, and you to play this card, it takes 2 rage, so you spend 2 rage to play the card.
And it does have one of the better player boards I've seen, where all your actions are available right there. It tells you exactly how much they cost, what they do.
Yeah, it was a great player board. I like
it.
So initially, I feel that it's not just this game, just any new game, you get bombarded with rules and actions, and it's like, wow, I'm never going to remember that. But once you start playing, it's fairly simple to retain the information. And if you're like, wait, what do we do here? Oh, okay, now I understand.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are visual learners, so being told the rules, you have no idea what you just said. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So once you actually because a lot of times when I play board games, the person explaining it usually goes first to actually show them, the other people what it's like to play. So once you start playing, it was a lot of fun, fairly easy. I got pigeonholed into doing the same thing over and over again, but my first time playing. So the next time I play the game, I'll have a better understanding of what to do, what to go for. If I see that guy is really going for the Ragnarok place, I can go somewhere else. Not worry about it. And picking your cards, especially that first time when we were doing our card draft, I was like, I don't know. I guess I'll pick.
Right. If you don't know what you're doing, it's hard.
But the third round, I was like, oh, this card's awesome. I'm definitely going to play that card. So I understood the cards better throughout the game and what they did and how it could help me. So the next time I play the game, I'll have a much better understanding of everything, especially in the beginning.
Absolutely. And this is a game you think you'd want to play again?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And like I said, I like the theme of the Norse mythology. It was a beautiful game. The artwork and everything was just absolutely beautiful. You said the player board was well designed. It wasn't complicated or anything. It was just all right there in front of you and very simple. So, yeah, definitely a game I would like to play again.
All right, so that sounds like a ringing endorsement.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
thumbs up review.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this game. I don't have a copy yet, but I'll probably eventually get one. We already have a buddy who has a copy of it, so it's like... Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things it's like, oh, you have a copy? I guess I don't have to buy a copy then.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, especially since board games are pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's good to have a diverse group. That way everyone doesn't have to have a copy. I mean, I like having a copy of everything, but that's because I'm a collector. But
yeah, me too. Well, not a board game, movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You understand.
Yes, I understand the collecting aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many movies I've never watched.
It's part of the geek gene.
Yeah, I think so.
Collecting. Yeah. You got to fill that hole.
I know. Only hundreds and hundreds of movies will fill the hole. Nothing else.
So we hope to have a new review for you next week.
Yes, I have no idea what it's going to be.
Me neither.
Since
having a clue.
Yeah, but the movie, I don't even have an idea on that either. I've been actually kind of itching to watch Casablanca lately.
Not me.
No?
No.
It's maybe not that one, but
maybe that. We'll see.
Yeah, because I've only watched it once, and it was a long time ago. So I don't know. For some reason, it's just been calling my name. But yeah, thank you for joining us for our podcast, Speak Geek Podcast by Geekilibrium. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/user/moviemastermike. You can find us on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/geekilibrium. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekilibrium and facebook.com/geekilibrium1. That's the number, not the word. And you can find us on all those avenues. We do written reviews on the Facebook, and we post our podcast on Facebook. And the podcast is on SoundCloud, and I also posted to YouTube just to get it out there to more people and stuff. So like, comment, and subscribe on both YouTube and SoundCloud. Visit us on Facebook, all that stuff to support us. Anything else you want to say?
No. Sounds like you covered it.
Well, join us next week when we talk about some movie, probably not superhero, since there are some coming out in theaters that we're going to see.
There's other movies out there. Yes. Did you know that? There's actually movies without superheroes out there.
Yes, there are.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah. The last couple of weeks we've been doing nothing but that with Flashpoint, Daredevil, and Superman. So we'll veer away from that. We'll decide on a game to play at the board game shop, so it'll be a complete surprise next week. So until then, we are your hosts, Movie Master Mike.
And Tabletop Tim.
Reminding you to speak your geek.
And balance your geek.
With Geekilibrium.